of our lesson on Pythagorean Theorem. So here's a very nice example which reads, in a right triangle ABC with sides A, B, and C, if A is 8 units, C is 10 units, what will be the length of letter B or side B? Normally, I would actually draw out a right triangle, so I'm going to do that right now. Make sure that it is actually a right triangle by labeling the symbol. Okay, just like so. Again, this is just a rough sketch. Now we're just going to label our vertex, our vertices here, which with the capital letter A, B, or C. Now, as I mentioned before, your vertices are always going to be capital letter, and across or the opposite side of that vertex is your side length of that lowercase a. So, for example, if I label this A here, the side that is opposite or across from vertex A will be the lowercase a. Okay, so that's always the case, just for organization purposes. For letter B, I am actually going to label this here. The reason is, if we label it here, the side that's across will be B. But remember, the hypotenuse, the longest side, is always reserved for the letter C. So actually, what I'm going to do is I go ahead and draw it out like that. There we go. So if your A is 8 units and C is 10 units, we have to find out what our letter B is in blue. Alrighty, so as always, make sure to use our handy dandy formula, which is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared, and this is called our Pythagorean theorem, and we proved that already. So now we're going to go ahead and fill that in. Make sure you plug it in the right spot. Our A is 8. Make sure to have the square there. Do not forget the square. Plus b squared equals to c, which is in green, 10 squared. There we go. Just make sure you plug in the right spot. Now, this equation looks a little bit different because now we're solving for the middle term or the middle variable, which is letter B. Previous example, we were solving for letter C, so that was a little easier. But now, regardless, we should still use our calculator and plug that in, and we can rearrange the equation after. 10 squared, that's just 10 times 10, which is 100. Now, to isolate for the letter B, please make sure to subtract both sides by 64. The reason why we do that is that 64 and 6 minus 64 will cancel out to be 0, which leaves us with what we want, which is letter B squared equals to 100 minus 64. If you punch into your calculator or do some mental math, is going out to be 36. And to undo the square, make sure we square root that, which gives us, I'm just going to write it here, that B equals to 6 units, because 6 times 6 is 36. So here, I could just go ahead and confidently put 6 units in there. So that is our answer, that our B is 6. Now, one thing about this is that, actually a cool thing about this is that there are a lot of tools online for you to check. And one of those tools I found is from GeoGebra. And I actually have it here, that you're able to drag and change the value of your A, B, or C depending on the shape of your right triangle, but it's pretty neat here. So in this example, remember our A was 8. Oh, and one thing is that this only goes up to 12, so it will be good to check for a little bit like a smaller values. If your A is 8, our C is 10, okay, so then you have to look. Remember what we mentioned when we talked about the proof of Pythagorean theorem is that the sum of your square of your side A, which is in light blue, and the square of side B, or the square of B, which is in orange, the sum of that have to be the sum of square of C, which is in green. So in this case, 64 plus 64 does not equal to 100. It is actually more. So what we should do is we should reduce that to not 49, but to 36, because 36 plus 64 actually equals to 100. What I also like about this tool is that it is kept at 90 degrees. So it is good to, or actually, sorry, it is kept at 90 degrees when you have the right or proper or correct length of your legs and your hypotenuse. So for example, if I accidentally did like say A is 8, B is 9, and C is 10, you can see that this is not a right triangle because it is giving us a 72-degree angle right there. And similarly to this, right? Or something like that. All right, so let's just go back to checking our work, which was we kept A to be 8 and our letter C to be 10, and our B, we came up with 6 units right there. And here we go. We see that it is 9 degrees. Again, this is a very nice interactive tool for you to check your answers, and you can always check with your calculations right there. Thanks, guys.